Welcome back to Marriage Minutes, where we're spending 40 days helping you get on the same page as a couple. This is episode 27, where we're talking about how to turn quiet resentments into honest conversation. And what we've found, and I think you can probably relate to, is that it's those little things that are just left unspoken for too long that turn into big resentments. And so if you can avoid that by just having honest conversations about those little things before they turn into resentments, before they grow over time, it can really save you a lot of grief in your marriage. And all it takes is just a little bit of communication. So what are those little things? What are the things that you can deal with early on so that they don't lead to those big resentments? One is hurt. Little hurts, those little hurts that they start just as a little sore, but then they fester over time because you don't deal with them. Hurt can turn from a small thing into a big resentment if left uncommunicated.
Especially if you're not communicating and then you're just replaying the tape over and over and over again in your head on this instance where you feel hurt, and it becomes bigger and more compounded in our own brain because we're not addressing it, we're not talking about it to our spouse.
That's right. Another area that can lead to some big resentments is disappointment. So little disappointments or little things that you may feel disappointed about in your spouse or towards your spouse for something maybe that they said they would do and didn't follow through on, or something that maybe you have some unrealistic expectations about that have led to disappointment.
Or just unspoken expectations.
Yeah, unspoken expectations.
Maybe they're not necessarily unrealistic and they're just not, you haven't shared. And so you're holding your spouse mentally hostage over this thing that they had no idea that they were supposed to do.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't know that is the expectation. So a little communication can go a long way when it comes to disappointment. So how do you start the conversation when it comes to these things, these little things that can turn into big resentments? You can easily just kick off a conversation by saying, hey, can I share something with you that's been weighing on me for some time? Most likely they're not going to say no. That'll open the doorway for that conversation. You'll be surprised how positive it can be and where it can go. Another way you can bring it up is by saying, hey, something's been bothering me. I don't want it to build. Can we talk about this? And just open the door to have that conversation.
And you may think you're protecting your spouse from not sharing these things. Like, that's just rooted in codependency. Being clear is kind. So we want to have clearer communication. And we're not trying to say that you nitpick every little thing. Maybe sometimes you're just being overly sensitive, but it's important no matter what that you have the communication with your spouse, especially if it's building up. And one of the tools that we shared in a previous episode is just saying, hey, the story I'm telling myself in my head is, and you fill in the blank, like, this is what's going on in my head. Let me share it with you so that you can speak into it and have a high level of communication around this area.
Yeah. And there are some things that we can just let go.
Yeah.
This is not that. This is those little things that we just keep playing over and over in our mind. If you find you can't just let it go, it needs a conversation.
Definitely. So that's all we have for episode 27. Check us out tomorrow, 6 a.m. for episode 28, where we say stop assuming and start asking. Thanks for watching.